Chicago Journals Equality as a Moral Ideal हैरी फ्रैंकफर्ट सोर्स लिया गया है एथिक्स से यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ शिकागो प्रेस से ये देखते हैं Equality as a Moral Ideal हैरी फ्रैंकफर्ट फर्स्ट मैन हाउ आर योर चिल्ड्रन सेकंड मैन कंपेयर टू व्हाट economic economic egalitarianism is, as I shall construe it, the doctrine that it is desirable for everyone to have the same amounts of income and of wealth, for short money. Hardly anyone would deny that there are situations in which it makes sense to tolerate deviation from this standard. It goes without saying, after all, that preventing or correcting such deviations may involve cost, which, whether measured in economic terms or in terms of non economic considerations, are by any reasonable measure unacceptable. Nonetheless, many people believe that economic equality has considerable moral value in itself. For this reason, they often urge that efforts to approach the egalitarian ideals should be accorded with the all due consideration for the possible effect of such efforts in obstructing or in conducing to the achievement of other goods a significant priority. In my opinion, this is a mistake. Economic equality is not, as such, of particular moral importance with respect to the distribution of economic assets. What is important from the point of view of morality is not that everyone should have the same, but that each should have enough. If everyone had enough, it would be of no moral consequence whether some had more than others. I shall refer to this alternative to egalitarianism. अब यहाँ पे टर्म आया है उसको देख लेते हैं दिस वर्जन ऑफ इकोनॉमिक egalitarian for short simply egalitarianism might also be formulated as the doctrine that there should be no inequalities in the distribution of money. The two formulations are not unambiguously equivalent because the term distribution is equivocal. It may refer either to a pattern of possession or to an activity of allocation, and there are significant differences in the criteria for evaluating distributions and the two senses. Thus, it is quite possible to maintain consistently both that it is acceptable for the people to have unequal amount of the money and that is objectionable to allocate money unequally. Thus, Thomas Nagel writes, the defense of economic equality on the grounds that it is needed to protect political, legal, social equality is not defense of equality per se. Equality is in the possession of benefit in general. At the latter is a further moral idea of great importance. Its validity would provide an independent reason to favor economic equality as a good in its own right. Equality and its moral questions. Cambridge University Press. Namely, that what is morally important with respect to money is for everyone to have enough as the doctrine of sufficiency. The fact that the economic equality is not in its own right a morally compelling social ideal is in no way, of course, a reason for regarding it as undesirable. My claim that equality in itself lacks moral importance does not entail that equality is to be avoided. Indeed, there may well be good reasons for governments or for individuals to deal with the problems of economic distribution in accordance with an egalitarian standard and to be concerned more with attempting to increase the extent to which people are economically equal than with effort to regulate directly the extent to which the amount of money people have are enough. Even if equality is not as such morally important, a commitment to an egalitarian social policy may be indispensable to promoting the enjoyment of significant goods besides equality or to avoiding their impairment. Moreover, it might turn out that the most feasible approach to the achievement of the sufficiency would be pursuit of equality. But despite the fact that the egalitarian distribution would not necessarily be objectionable, the error of believing that there are powerful moral reasons for caring about equality is far from innocuous. In fact, this belief tends to do significant harm. It is often argued as an objection to egalitarian that there is dangerous conflict between the equality and the liberty. If people are left to themselves, inequalities of income and wealth inevitably arise, and therefore an egalitarian distribution of money can be achieved and maintained only at the cost of repression. Whatever may be the merit of this argument concerning the relationship between equality and liberty, economic egalitarianism engenders another conflict which is of even more fundamental moral significance. To the extent that people are preoccupied with equality for its own sake, their readiness to be satisfied with any particular level of income or wealth is guided not by their own interests and needs, but just by the magnitude of the economic benefit that are at the disposal of others. In this way, egalitarianism distracts people from measuring the requirement to which their individual natures and their personal circumstances give rise. It encourages them instead to insist upon a level of economic support that is determined by the calculation in which the particular features of their own lives are irrelevant. How sizable the economic assets of others are has nothing much to do, after all, with what kind of person someone. I focus attention here on the standard of equality in the distribution of money, chiefly in order to facilitate my discussion on the standard of sufficiency. Many egalitarians of course, consider economic equality to be morally less important than equality in certain other matters: welfare, opportunity, respect, satisfaction of needs. In fact, some of what I have to say about the economic egalitarianism and sufficiency applies as well to these other benefits, but I shall not attempt in this essay to define the scope of its applicability, nor shall I attempt to relate my views to other recent criticisms of egalitarian, Larry S. Temkin, inequality, philosophy, and public affairs. Robert Gordon, Epiphenomenal Egalitarian, Social Research 52. As a concern for economic equality constitute desirable in itself, tends to divert a person's attention away from the endeavoring to discover within his experience of himself or his life what he himself really cares about and what will actually satisfy him. Although this is the most basic and the most decisive task upon which an intelligent selection of the economic goal depends, exaggerating the moral importance of the economic equality is harmful. In other words, because it is alienating. To be sure, the circumstances of other ways may reveal interesting possibilities and provide data for useful judgment concerning what is normal or typical. Someone who is attempting to reach a confident and realistic appreciation of what to seek for himself, so may well find this helpful. It is not only in a suggestive and preliminary ways like these, moreover, that the situations of other people may be pertinent to someone's effort to decide what economic demands. It is reasonable or important for him to make the amount of money he needs may depends in more direct way on the amounts other have. Money may bring power, prestige, or other competitive advantage. A determination of the how much money would be enough cannot intelligently be made by someone who is concerned with such things except on the basis of an estimate of the resources available to those with whose completion it may be necessary for him to be content. What is important from this point of view, however, it is not the comparison of levels of affluence as such. The measurement of inequality is important only as it pertains contingently to others' interest. The mistaken belief that economic equality is important in itself leads people to detach the problem of formulating their economic ambitions from the problem for understanding what is most fundamentally significant to them. It influences them to take too seriously, as though it were a matter of great moral concern, a question that is inherently rather insignificant and not directly to the point, namely how their economic status compares with the economic status of other, and this way the doctrine of equality contributes to the moral disorientation, shallowness of our time.